Hello, I'm Wayward, and we're back with Grey Goo. The map is Secret Gardens, and the players at the bottom left is our human player Mafboi, and at the top right, though rapidly moving out to the middle, is our Goo player Tommygun. So this is not a map that I see too often. I don't recall having seen anything by Mafboi before, so I'm interested to see if he's a new player, returning player. Let's see what happens. This is, of course, the quick script mod, so after that initial resource gathering block of resources on the Mother Goo, it splits into two automatically, and with the humans, once they get the first refinery, it gives them a second one for free. That just gets things rolling a lot quicker. It really improves the pace of the game. Okay, so our human player, Mafboi, has gone for 2 refineries into 4 factories. That's pretty standard. It's a fairly small map with a lot of places for the Goo to hide. It looks like Tommygun is not being particularly aggressive. Makes sense, you know, against a good player, aggression can be pretty risky. Drover just being annoying, dealing some light damage to these conduits and factories, getting a good scout in. Tommygun actually going for a small Protean fairly early. While I think that does make sense, can make sense, it is also kind of a risky move. This is, you know, half a Mother Goo right here, waiting to be used as a unit. Could provide some good scouting information. Let's just take a look at our structures tab real quick. So it's 3 mamas to 3 refineries. That 3rd refinery just coming up. Now we'll stall Mafboi out slightly, but it's not too bad overall. In terms of units, we've got 9 out so far. It's a decent split. Now this is something that a player like myself would do. Typically the conventional wisdom these days is that the revolver is in most cases the better unit. Mafboi heading out onto the map, it looks like, trying to get some damage in, some harassment in. Another small Protean hits the field, so there's 2. Good for defense or scouting if needed. Tommygun moving all over the place. I'm not sure if this is part of the strategy or if he is not sure what he's doing. So this is actually something I noticed. I actually cast this last night and the video corrupted, so I'm trying to do this again. One thing that I noticed that's kind of neat is the catalyst is the resource in this game. It's not really important to the story of the game, but it runs in these rivers underground. Now, most of the time it doesn't really matter that it's in rivers, but in this map it actually does. So right here, Mafboi is double harvesting out of his catalyst, and there's a river here and a river here. So it forces you to, if you're going to play like this, you're going to mine yourself out more quickly, and it encourages you to spread out your harvesting on the map. This is actually one of the better maps, I think, because of the way that this is set up. Anyway, not too much has happened yet. Kind of a macro match for both players. Tommygun on 4 mothers so far with a decent number of small Proteans, bringing them down around to the south. Let's see if he's going to do a run-by to see what is going on. I think this does make sense with the mobility of the Goo. Being able to respond and react quickly is useful. We have a small Protean coming up here for some scouting. And another one over there, actually losing it. A bit of sloppy micro. Oh my goodness. We have a Strider harass going on here, and that refinery is going to go down. So that is quite a blow to Mafboi's economy, trying to repair it, but it's too little, too late, and the refinery goes down. Now these Striders, they spawn at 60% health, and they will rapidly heal if they don't attack, but they didn't get a chance to not attack, so they're very fragile, and this army is going to chew them up and spit them out. But losing a refinery is no small thing for Mafboi. Tough spot for Mr. Mafboi to be in. On the back of this, though, Tommygun not expanding his economy, but producing a large number of small Proteans. I think that actually is going to work out okay for him, because this big ball of Tier 1 of tridents and revolvers is coming out trying to get some revenge, I think is the way to say that. Mafboi does now see what's going on here. Tommygun coming in with a ton of drovers. This is not the most efficient exchange, with the drovers being able to get a surround like this. This is what they want. This is what Tommygun wants. So he does lose a decent number of them. And really, the drovers, they are of limited value even now. But nice way to reduce that army size drastically. Killing, I think, more than half of the units of Mafboi. So things still kind of at the same spot. Tommygun, I think it would do him well to try to expand into 6 or 8 mamas and get some additional income there. This is a really great spot for the goo to set up. Of course, so mothers gain health, this orange bar that slowly turns into health over time, and they can, as we see here, fill it up very quickly by grabbing these vents. That gives them a big boost of potential hit points. So I don't like this at all from Tommygun. He's coming in here to try to continue to harass, but honestly, with drovers, it's not going to do much, and all he stands to do is lose some units. You see this extractor is still okay. Mafboi moving on to the high ground. That definitely makes sense, especially against the goo, where the goo likes to abuse the high ground to avoid attacks. Let's check Mafboi's base. He has an anti-heavy sentinel that is appropriate, and he's getting howitzers out, the human artillery unit. We have large factories. Now this makes sense as well. This is a really small, tight start area. We have another bunch of small Proteans coming in, trying to do some more harass. But Mafboi, I think, is actually going to be ready for this. We also have tank attachment coming out for Gladius and Valiant production. So we see some damage coming down here on these destructible rocks, but really just going to get pushed back by Mafboi. So Mafboi is transitioning to tech. He is adding a 6th refinery. One thing we see with new players often is that they stop at 5 or 6 refineries. So we'll have to see if Mafboi continues to expand his economy beyond this point. I've seen many games where the player stops at 5 economies and loses at that point. Meanwhile, Tommygun has gone to 6 mothers, and it looks like he's saving up for 2 more, or potentially getting some large Proteans. We actually have some large Proteans up here as well. Large Proteans are, actually we have 3 large Proteans so far, and more, I think, on the way. So, I do like seeing large Proteans in a match as slow as this. It might actually make sense for Tommygun to focus on expanding his number of mothers, because that's, you know, ramping your economy up quicker. And 6 mothers to 7 mothers now to 6 refineries is actually not in the goo's favor. And large Proteans, while they're very cool, until you hit a critical mass of tier 3 units, they're actually fairly inefficient in terms of their effective cost. Mafboi doing a 2-pronged attack. He's got a group of units up here and down here. This is actually a really big ball of units, and a large Protean coming under fire, dithering a little bit, losing some of its health. Radiant getting just murdered in the face. We do have howitzers on the field now. Let me focus on the combat. Oh no. A bunch of Crescents get warped, and we do see some damage going down, but one of them, due to the way the goo units spread out when they appear, one of them actually was killed right away. So Crescents are a very powerful unit, but very fragile, so we'll have to see how Tommygun works this out. In a game without many special abilities, AoE is very important. These units are pretty much doomed. This is a great spot for the Crescents to set up. Mafboi is going to be prepared now. This is a large Strider Ball. So the goo is really kind of hitting its stride right now. This is a great spot for... Oh no, the Crescent's just walking out into the middle of nowhere. What is going on? Taking some needless damage. Doing kind of a death march out into the middle of the map. This is potentially really, really bad for Tommygun. These are super expensive units. And having them die like that, there was no need for that unit to die. One Crescent for one howitzer is not, maybe two, I guess, is not the exchange that another Crescent dying for basically nothing but a handful of tier 1 units. That is really a bad trade for Tommygun. Gosh, I feel like I'm losing my voice. So we do have howitzers, and it's mostly just tier 1 beyond that. 5 Crescents and 21 Striders. So a good number of units for Tommygun. Potentially throwing some Striders away here for just dealing some damage to some rocks. I feel like it's in Tommygun's best interest to pull back. While I have a second, no, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, what's going on? So actually, that did kind of work out in Tommygun's favor. 7 mothers to 7 refineries, so the number of refineries does keep going up. Good for Tommygun. Looking at our resources, it is definitely in Tommygun's favor right now, but the goo tend to do that. We do have repair subroutines. That's a weird upgrade with all this tier 1. Only the howitzer would benefit from that at this point, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Oh, Trident's repair as well. Interesting. Interesting unit selection to have repair. But we also have the Contagious Goo upgrade, so that's a really popular one for the goo. It's very important for Destructors to have those bouncing shots. Finally we have monitors out. With this hilly terrain, that's super important. The howitzers are also useful for attack ground. Oh, those poor Crescents. There's only 2 left. We have a ton of Large Proteans now. Taking a quick look. 7, and we do have an 8th Mama, so Tommygun continues to expand. This is a lot of high-tech goo, and it's all becoming Destructors. So I think that's a good tech choice. It's still a little dangerous. We do have the Contagious Goo. We also have for the humans, we have the Proximity Mine. Very close to completion. Another good human upgrade that human players like to get. 1 Crescent still kind of hanging on by the skin of its teeth. These Destructors attacking into the howitzers is not super great. Tommygun losing a ton of them before he's even able to engage. Getting some good damage here, but taking severe damage at the same time, and I'm not honestly sure it's worth it. That was a lot of Large Proteans to blow on a whiffed attack. It's a pretty bad situation for Tommygun. He is now on 11 mothers. We do have a ton of monitors out as well for our human player. Mafboi with some really good map vision thanks to those monitors. Tommygun with a huge network of goo units. 1 Crescent still hanging on. Both players gone really low, and the Destructors are in Mafboi's base, depowering his factories. If Tommygun had a second wave of units ready right now, this would be really, really bad for our human player. we do have more units coming in. Tommygun could stand to bring them in. So the conduit crosses being rebuilt. That temporary advantage seems to be going down. Anti-heavy sentinel coming up. I think I was actually moved, so it was just teleported closer. And there goes the last destructor. So that's a lot of tier 3 gone for Tommygun. But I started saying this earlier. We do have a third large factory. I started saying this earlier, but what I do really like about what Mafboi is doing here is with this really cramped base and really cramped outside area, it takes a lot of effort for a human player to get their buildings out here. So this is very space efficient for Mafboi, probably one of the best builds he could use. There's, I think, some slight issues with how this works. I'm not sure if this space is utilized 100% properly, but it's actually not bad. Mafboi not 100% sure how to attack ground. Let's hope that he gets that sorted. There we go. Old click. So now you know. In case you are new to the game. So we have 11 mothers to 7 refineries. That's ideally where Tommygun wants to be. And a huge army of Formless Goo, a lot of large Proteans, 7 large Proteans, and 21 small Proteans. Look at that. Look at the 142 to 95 population. So massive numbers there for Tommygun. And he is committing again to an aggressive assault, going for the destructible debris. Now this is clumping up, and we do have a bunch of AoE damage dealers over here. So some nasty hits coming down on these Striders and Destructors. This is a really large army though. Oh my gosh, so much damage though. And you see the number of the unit numbers have already gone way south, trying to do a split there, but he's really caught in this choke point. This is a really hard thing for the Goo to attack into. Crescents maybe could have helped to add attack ground and the massive AoE of the Crescent. Or potentially even just using Formless Goo to come in. I'm not sure. It's a really hard base for the Goo to attack into because of these chokes that are really easy to defend with things like Valiants and things like Howitzers. A refinery kill is good, but for losing 100 supply, and it is now at a supply deficit, I don't think that's what Tommygun wanted. In the meantime, Mafboi coming out onto the map and taking out at least one or a couple mamas. I'm going to actually go back a little bit. I missed this, and we'll see what Mafboi's doing. Okay, so we've got a mother here. We have this army coming up. Now this is in the exactly while Tommygun is attacking with this massive ball that's now taking a lot of damage. We have 10 mothers right now, and we have this little army up here. So there's just the one. I guess another one had died previously. Honestly, even using mothers in this assault might have helped. It's a really bad loss if you lose, but yeah. So this mama goes down. Mafboi really could do a tremendous amount of damage here if he was paying more attention. Now he does manage to save his base. He loses a refinery. But it's an eye for an eye, right? We got a mother down and a refinery down. It's approximately the same thing. Less damage, I think, here than Tommygun wanted. Of course, Tommygun, I think, ideally wanted to close out the game. We do lose a Protean here. Large Protean. Actually, I think it might have been better for the Large Protean to just roll over this army. The Destructors going down. 2 more Destructors getting ready to disappear. Striders being summoned in. A lot of half-health units fighting this army with the Valiant there soaking up a lot of the damage. And a lot of army units actually going down to defend that. So really good trade for Mafboi, getting a mother and a bunch of tier 3 units to boot. Mafboi out on the map again. Valiant being used to try to protect this army. Tommygun doing a good job of getting back on the field, but that trade was brutal for him, and he's kind of reeling. And right now, Mafboi is in a pretty dominant position. He knows it's really, really hard to attack into his base, and he's taking advantage of that. So, more howitzer micro doing some damage against the Destructors. Actually, it looks like he's focusing down the Destructors, where this one survives with 3 health for now. Tommygun's still at a supply disadvantage. These howitzers are going to go down now, but they can still do a bit of damage and pay for themselves. So, well played by Tommygun, but I think even better play by Mafboi. Slight annoyance there as the extractor goes down. I think this is not what you want to be doing. Mafboi again taking advantage of the terrain, getting guys on the high ground and through the choke point. So a good surround of Tommygun's units, and all those expensive tier 3 units are dying again. Tommygun hasn't produced anything for a while because he's saving up for more Large Proteans. We're going to see a wave of Large Proteans come out now. Potentially a mix of Destructors and Crescents are what we need, but it's, pardon the pun, a really uphill battle to break these natural defenses. The final Destructor getting 1 more kill, 2 more kills before it goes down. And a kill team coming out for Mafboi, another one. This Mama being pulled back to save it. It looks like Tommygun knows what's coming. He knows there's a kill team, so he's got another large wave of Formless Goo coming out. And again, I don't know if I said this time or last time, but I really like seeing play with a lot of Formless Goo. That's a lot of Crescents. I'm not sure that's the right call. Attacking into these Crescents is going to be difficult, but as we see here, they are just going to be... and these reactionary drovers are, again, not what Tommygun wants to do. Drovers are fairly useless. Interesting extractor coming out here. We are at 8 refineries to 12 mamas. Nice big refinery line there. I think possibly technically killing this refinery. No, I think the other refineries can get powered from this one as well because it's connected to the factory, which is not connected. So maybe killing this refinery would take out the whole refinery line. Oh my gosh, the Crescent's walking right out into the middle of the field, and more of them going down. Let's take a quick look at the unit counts, 26 to 40. We still have 5 Crescents left, but I think there were considerably more than that. And the drovers are not going to help anybody. These 19 driver drovers are, same with all these armored units on the field, plus the Valiant, they've gone down in value. So, really tough position for Tommygun right now. The supplies are okay. The Crescent's on the middle of the field again. I think they're going to be able to take out those howitzers, and there they go, but this mother is in a lot of danger, needs to get out of dodge immediately, or it's going to be killed. Nice little swap there, pulling the small protean forward. The mother is still alive, but it's going to be a while before it's useful. A ton of proteans being turned into bastions. I like bastions. I think they're a phenomenal unit, but that is not what you want. And the Strider's morphing in right as some howitzer shots go down. That's another big hit, literally and figuratively, of course, for Tommygun. Crescent over here being annoying while the main army is over here fighting. Like I said, Bastion's great unit. Don't think 4 of them was the right call. Especially without any sort of tech to support them. There's tech that lets units like the Bastion convert into small proteans when they die, and that sort of thing might help a little bit. The Bastions, that one throwing itself away. This one is okay for now. The Crescent's coming over to help, but this is a pretty big army, and they managed to get away. These monitors are going to make those Crescents not as safe as Tommygun wants them to be. So more tech dying. We have a kill squad coming out, but not managing to kill anything. We do have the full complement now of Mamas. And unit count's still pretty equal. This Mama not doing anything. I think a couple pot shots from Mafboi. A lot of formless goo, which means a lot of not ideal engagements for Tommygun. These Bastions a little out of position, but coming up nonetheless. Formless goo taking advantage of their ability to attack on terrain, but a weird engage from Tommygun means these howitzers are still partially defended. A couple of these small Proteans actually dying before they can convert fully, and all of a sudden these Bastions are more of a liability than an asset. One goes down, another getting ready to go down. That is a 4 Bastions lost for basically no gain for Tommygun. So not great right now for our goo player. But this terrain is made for the abuse of these howitzers. It's it's really tough. Tommygun doing a good job. Another mass morph, but the mass morphs in combat, they're great in the early game, but once the howitzers are on the field, it's really a tough sell for me to say that it makes sense. We've got a lot of really damaged goo units, a lot of units dying that probably didn't need to. Another kill team coming out. That Mama that was damaged earlier is dead. We have another mother going down right here. It's not going to be able to get away because of the monitor. So Mafboi doing what it takes. Another base assault from Tommygun, actually, with Striders and now a bunch of small Proteans in the base. This is looking pretty brutal. The Sentinel goes down. We have an artillery Sentinel that was built that was, I think, helping out and contributing to the unit counts. But 2 mothers going down, now a 3rd. This is really painful. This is really painful. A 4th one, I think, about to die as well. And Tommygun is, I think, gonna have to pull back. Anti-Heavy Sentinel completes, but is depowered. This is actually a really nasty assault. Those factories all going down as well. So Tommygun did actually do some really serious damage here. Completely shut down the production. Killed 3 so far. This kill team is being shut down, but it did a lot of damage. He went from 12 Mamas to 8. So 4 mothers killed is nothing to sneeze at. And no refineries killed yet here. There were some killed earlier, but it's still 8 refineries to 8 mothers. So that is still a mark in Mafboi's favor. And Tommygun finally shut down here, being forced to pull back. Now the factories are going to be rebuilt in short order, so the damage was pretty severe, but frustratingly temporary. Tommygun starting to recover. All tier 1, all Striders with a couple of... I thought there were some Drovers mixed in, but I guess it's all Striders. Monitors still paying for themselves. It's a huge sight range on this unit. It's like a whole screen length. I need to try to use the cinematic camera at some point. Oh, that's this player camera. I thought it was... Don't mind me. Tommygun now back up to 8 mothers. Got some anti-air for the scouting with these Tempests. Definitely makes sense to me. Freeing up this Catalyst plug vent, potentially useful. Let's actually take a quick look at the resource display. So this vein is running dry. This vein is actually completely mined out, and we've got an extra extractor here, which is lower income. Severe population losses for Tommygun, and actually this one's just about mined out too. So it looks like Mafboi is trying to expand out here a little bit to make up for running out of his natural catalyst. But a population difference of 60 to 150 is painful. This mother is way over on the wrong side of the map in enemy territory, and it's going to... Actually, it's fine for now. That kill team was not microed well, and Tommygun hoovers it up. That's a word of warning, though, to Tommygun to watch his back. We've got more Crescents out again. It looks like one has already died. I think there's 5, so there would have been 6 morphed in. Really good howitzer control. The Strider... Tommygun has some great aggressive instincts, and he does some great aggressive plays. And Tommygun, you are way, way better than me. I'm not trying to say anything about that at all. But yeah, great instincts, but sometimes the decision-making, like here, I don't see how this could have turned into a win. The Crescent's doing phenomenal damage to these units, but they're just coming out as fast as they can be. Oh no, oh no, 2 more Crescents go down. 14 howitzers is a lot of AoE, a lot of targetable AoE. Another kill team gunning for this mother is gonna kill it. There it goes. So a crap ton, a veritable crap ton of units from our healing player. We do have another Crescent shot going down. I think that might have been the last hurrah for the Crescents. Formless Goo coming to take on these howitzers. I really feel like at this point the Rover is more of a liability than it's worth. We have Dwellers on the field, living landmines. Their stealth upgrade is not researched. If it was, that might have turned out a little differently. It's kind of a bit of a last hurrah, it looks like, for Tommygun. I really was hoping this was going to be a Goo win, but at 20 to 160 supply, now it's 80. But I feel like we're at a unit replacement level here for the humans and an army size level for Mafboi. I just don't see Tommygun turning this around, especially since he's starting to lose mothers, and we do have a monitor over here, so escape is impossible from this army. Tommygun losing another mother. Yeah, I was really hoping to see a Goo win. I heard this was a great match. I think it was. It has been a phenomenal match. I think what happened here is Tommygun was just attacking and doing really population poor trades against Mafboi, who is now kind of at a critical mass, 180 to 66 supply. There's a cell of that. I think the catalyst might recharge over time. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Probably wrong. I don't know. You'd think I would know. You'd think I would know better. It is now 126 to 200, so a bit of population comeback. There's Crescents going down, a ton of small Proteans coming out, a bunch of small Proteans actually dying before they can connect. Again, the Drovers, it's a fun touch in the early game, but it does not scale well, and scaling well is what Tommygun would have needed to do. This is not going to do anything to reverse the goo is underpowered observation that players have made before. I don't really want to argue it either way. Like the Obi-Wan Kenobi meme, I'm not really sure I'm brave enough for politics here. I will say that the competitive community is of the opinion that the goo can be very powerful, but that they're very, very hard to play. I've heard also, I think I've said this before in previous casts, it is often held that the goo do actually win pretty often, but most of the time when they win, the match isn't that interesting. So I think a longer, more interesting match tends to play where they actually do a fairly strong rush, and it's hard to balance them because you can't really speed up the mother goo because that makes it very, very hard to impossible to beat them when they rush. And then a game where the players are goo and they just rush you every time is not great, right? So a lot of the balance levers that you'd want to tweak would be make the mother faster, make the mother have more health, and that's really tough. Besides the fact that with the modding tools, I'm not sure what capabilities the player even has for that sort of thing. But the goo rush is already very strong and difficult to hold if executed well. And it's more interesting if games make it into the mid-game, right? So it's a tough one. It's a tough one, especially since Petroglyph and 6foot haven't been developing this game for a very long time, and we're stuck with modding tools. But anyway, I hope this was a fun match, even if the outcome was predictable. Goo for me is kind of like when I was casting Command & Conquer Remastered, and you know, it's a GDI match. Oh, does the GDI win? No, they lose, but at least they put up a good fight. So Tommygun with some fascinating, hilarious plays, and also some heartbreaking ones as he lost a like 2-to-1 supply advantage going through a choke against artillery. But this map is just really, really tough for the goo to attack into. These natural cliffs are a really big defender's advantage. But anyway, this was a nice long match, and brutal, especially if you're kind of rooting for the goo to put up a good fight. But like I said, hopefully enjoyable nonetheless.